back to SVSU Red Alert. I'm joined now by SVSU men's soccer coach Cale Wassermann. And Cale, before we get into this season, let's talk a little bit first about what it was like for this program after last season, where you're able to go all the way to the national championship game. You lose 3-2, but get so much national adulation in the process. What's it like then to keep trying to make this program be the type of program you want it to be?
You know, last year was special. We had a great run. I think we went 14 games unbeaten at the end of the season, which is, you know, something special that not many teams can say that they've done. And so many late games, so many overtime wins, just, you know, a very, very intense ending of the season. But our guys are humble. We had a lot of young guys and a lot of returners. So, you know, to kind of follow that up, we just knew we had to keep working. And that's how we got there in the first place. So with all the national attention and everything else, just tried to keep the guys grounded. And, you know, as soon as the season ended, winter workouts started. So, you know, it didn't take that much time to sit back and reminisce. We knew that we had to prepare for our spring season where we played a bunch of Division I teams. So kind of hit the ground running right away back in January when we got back from break, and, you know, hoping to continue the trend with the wins that we had last year late in the year as we get into the second half of the season.
And again, you had a great senior class last year, but you obviously had a lot of younger players that were in key roles for your team last year. Does that experience help now as, again, you get into the second half of this season?
Yeah, I mean, we graduated 2 All-Americans as well as another senior that was second in the nation in assists. So graduated some key guys, but we brought back, I want to say, 8 returners from that starting line and 12 other guys who contributed off the bench. So we brought back 19, 20 guys. So to get those guys all that experience last year off the bench or starting, whatever it was, they came in this year and already had experience in top competition, high-level games, teams across the country. So, you know, we've got that experience as well as some new guys this year that have contributed quite heavily and are leading some top statistical categories as well in the GLIAC. So got a good mix of youth and experience on this team.
And so far it's got you in first place in the GLIAC. Still a lot of soccer to be played, but how do you feel the team has played so far?
We've played well. We had a disappointing opening weekend of the season where we played so well and outshot both our opponents by about 20 shots per game and just didn't get the results. But since then, you know, we're 5-1-1 in the GLIAC and really bounced back from that. Have done very well at home as well as away. So we've put ourselves in a good position. We've got 7 games to go, got some tough games coming up, but I think we're right where we need to be, being a team that has, you know, in the last couple of years shown the later half of the season, second half of the season, continued to improve. I'm quite confident if we can do the things we're supposed to do and focus on the little details that we can put ourselves in a good spot.
What has made you successful as kind of that second half of the season club? Because, again, that's something that I suspect it is, those little adjustments over the course of the season.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I mean, we preach all the time that you have to keep improving. Every day, every practice, throughout a game. You'll see if you look at the stats, second half of games, we usually do quite well. We're just not satisfied. Our guys have that mentality that you have to keep pushing forward, have to keep improving. So come October, we're not thinking, all right, we've already done our jobs. We know that, you know, we want to take our season into December. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of adjustment. It takes film study. It takes hard work all year long. So that's kind of the mentality that the guys have adopted the last, you know, couple years, and it showed results. I think getting those results the last couple years has even motivated us even more to keep that mentality going into the late fall, into, you know, late October, early November when the postseason starts coming around.
What does your team need to do to be successful here down the second half of the season?
Bottom line, I think, is just focus one game at a time. We haven't even made or qualified the postseason yet, so we can't start focusing too much on what we want to do if we get there. We got to focus on how can we get there? How can we win games? We're at Malone this weekend, a very tough place to play. They're having a very up and down year, but that's a scary thing because they've been inconsistent, but they can really punish you if they play well, and they've got a tough field to play on. So we're just focused on this week, focused on today. We train today, we'll train tomorrow, one day at a time, one game at a time until we get into a position where we can think further down the road.
Well, hopefully all of those things continue to bode well for the Cardinals down the second half of the season. Cale Wassermann, thanks for joining us.
Thanks a lot, JJ.
And when we come back, we'll be rejoined by football coach Jim Collins. That's next on SVSU Red Alert.